Hello and welcome to the show. Now, Forza Motorsport has got quite a good selection of classic and historic race cars, and these are always good fun to drive, often quite scary to drive. They are certainly not the easiest, but with the way Forza kind of rates its cars and whatnot, it is often curious to see how these might fare compared to, well, a modern road car. At the end of the day, for the era, like this McLaren for example, these F1 cars were some of the fastest vehicles, fastest race cars you could get, fastest way to get around a circuit. But technology moves on an awful lot, and while these use the best technology they had at the time, a lot has changed in terms of tyres, in terms of brakes, in terms of aerodynamics, in terms of suspension, and all that good stuff. So what happens when you take these classic race cars and race them up against modern road vehicles? Of course, the classic cars are very light, incredibly light in comparison, and that is, I say, one of their saving graces. They are, though, as you can see here on cold tyres with this McLaren, often very, very difficult to drive. You have to have a little bit of a different driving style to get these around a track. So it is always an entertaining affair when you do this comparison. For our first race, we have come to Mugello. We have got a very old Ferrari Formula 1 car, and we are up against the Portofino. Now, we have, I say, slightly jigged the grid. So the Portofino is slightly higher PI, and we have done reverse PI grid here to have the Formula 1 cars hopefully, let's say, up at the front to begin with. I say the reason being is these vehicles, one of the very strange things. So we've done this test a few times in various Forza games with various cars, and generally speaking, they have worked out pretty much the same. And the classic race cars have been very fast down the straights, while the modern cars have generally been better in the corners. However, with this is different. These classic Formula 1 cars only have about 180 horsepower. It is not very much power whatsoever. They have relatively small engines. They are very slow down the straight, but they are much better in the corners because they are considerably lighter than the Portofino that's quite boaty, but of course that has far more power than we do. So it is a monster down the straight. By doing things this way, the hope is we will have an interesting race. We are currently fighting away with Ollie. Did not want third, turned in too late through there. God damn it. We had a good run through that section, and then I just beansed it up. The hope is, I mean, if the other Formula 1 cars can keep the Portofinos busy, we might stand a little bit of a chance here. Ollie had a couple of goes getting turned in through there. It's not easy to drive this vehicle. I am not normally very good with classic cars. I'm not very good with oversteery cars, I think is the best way to sum it up. And this, of course, just doesn't have that much in the way of rear end grip. It wants to move around. It wants to do weird, mad, dangerous things. Let's go for second gear. I fear we're going to be a little too far back. I want a nice slipstream down the start-finish straight to try and make the most, because the Portofinos are going to be on the charge any time now. I fear we are just a little bit too far back. I think Ollie may have managed to escape slightly here. We're going to go a little earlier on the brakes into turn 1, just to be safe on this first lap, and it has worked. Ollie is off towards the left-hand side of the circuit. I'm trying to pull it across to get a good run through this section. If we can be fast out of here, that would be wonderful. Yet weirdly, despite this sort of car normally not working for me, something about this particular one I actually quite like. I don't quite know why. I did have to turn off sim steering. I normally run it. This time around I am not, because it's twitchy, and if you get a twitch in this car, you're having a big accident on sim steering on a controller. So I have gone back to normal steering for this. Normally don't, but make an exception for these kind of vehicles. I was good through the first part. I've lost a little bit of time now to Ollie through here, although it's always it's just the danger and the fear that something is going to go wrong with these through some of these corners. You just see the back end moving around. I mean, I know they are supposed to move around at the end of the day. Ollie is playing it super close to the grass to the sand traps, has got away with it. We have currently got the classic Formula 1 cars are first, second and third, but Brazen is now starting to make moves with the big boat. I think Ollie has got it figured out and has just managed to pull away from me. I haven't quite got their pace with this car as we head into the final corner. Now, Brazen is a couple of seconds back. That car is going to be steaming towards us down the start-finish straight. Our hope is when you can see the line of cars. Now, that line of very brightly coloured Portofino's are about to come blasting up the order. There is only so much that we can do. Here, God, I cannot match with this pace. I said, I'm better with this car than I expected, but I'm not Ollie levels of fast with this car, basically. We will just focus on not making any mistakes at this point. There's only so much that we can do. Danger Man is under threat from Brazen. Now, the thing that can help me out here massively is if they fight one another. Now, admittedly, Danger Man has stayed ahead. Admittedly, it's difficult for the Formula 1 car to slow. Like, it's so much quicker in the corners. Not so much, but it is quicker than the Portofino through here. So it's not really holding up the modern car. And then you get to a straight, and there's nothing you can do, and the modern car is going to just come blasting past. Your best bet is going to be a big dive under brakes. Basically, it's a big dive under brakes into turn one. You've got to pull off with that if you're going to hold on to that place. We might get to that stage, depending on how things transpire, depending on how I drive, depending on how the fight goes on behind. Well, it's Brazen is up a position, so it looks like we may have to deal with that at some point. If I am not quick enough over the course of a lap to pull away, we're going to soon have that car to deal with. It's 2.3 in front and 2.3 back. If it could stay like that, I mean, it would be a bit boring. Oh, I have, changing gears, pressed a button that I didn't want to do. That's just nice mid-corner distraction. Not a normal problem with, racing and everything, but there we go. Carefully does it through that section. Christ, I really don't trust the car at all. I mean, we had a better end to this lap, not quite as good a start. I'm still trying to find where I can get pace. Brazen is very, very fast. Oh, we've had a wander out of the final corner. Had to have a lift because we were about to get into trouble. Now we will probably. I've got no one to slipstream off. We are going to be vulnerable turn one. However, I don't know if Brazen's going to probably catch up alongside us. Not going to be able to outbrake us. Oh, well, try to go for it. Very big, heavy car. Thankfully, just kind of bounced off the side of my classic race car. I say we may have to, if we can somehow slow down Brazen, we might save Ollie in all of this. It's not completely incorrect, but I think Ollie is fast enough to be out of the way here. Oh, no, now I'm just driving scruffy at the moment. Come on, can't afford. We need about like a second and a half to Brazen almost coming down that start-finish straight, which we're not going to get, I don't think. Not with my driving as it is currently. Once upon a time, we were fairly... I've completely lost it. All of the skill has evaporated. We used it all on the first couple of laps. Is where all of the skill went. Brazen's actually got the hang of that car like no one else around here. I mean, it's not a big surprise. Brazen's been monstrously fast on this game too. So if someone's going to figure out how to drive the big boat of a Ferrari, it'd probably be them. The Portofino's are gradually climbing their way through the order. We will cover the inside. The thing is, there's almost no point us defending in some regards because we can hold on through the corners. That's not the difficult part. We will just get past down the straight. Can I? I don't think Brazen's going to be able to pass us in the final corner. They might have the grip to do it. I didn't think they were going to. Quite. No, couldn't I was thinking they weren't going to have the grip. Now they might be able to tow me down the straight. It could help. It should help a bit. It's not going to help enough. We're going to need a monstrous tow down there. If we're going to do anything, we're not going to be close enough. Now we're going to need a perfect run if we're going to fight back to look for a second place. We're going to need to drive better than I have been. You can see how much we can close mid-corner. All that straight gap, that gap down the straight has immediately evaporated. The second we've got back behind, the second we've got into the braking zone through there. Danger Man is right behind us. We are being literally as aggressive around this circuit as we can be. Danger Man is there too. Oh. No, not got the turning point quite right through there. Got a little bit caught out. I got a little bit caught out where Brazen's braking. Of course, braking point in that car completely different to where I am trying to get on the brakes. I mean, if we can keep Brazen occupied, that's what we need to do, essentially, through here. Danger Man's there, going to have a little bit of a look. I'm more going for a slightly different, I say slightly different approach. I'm trying to get this corner here right and focus on a good exit. When I was slightly squiffy previously. Oh, a little bit of mid-corner understeer. Brazen's out a bit wide. Can we close up through this part? Maybe. If I can drive it right, so we can absolutely stick with the Portofino all the way through here. And we're faster in some places than it. We've just got to, if we could find a way, he's even going to dive down there. So I'm thinking if we somehow manage to stick with it to the final lap, let's say we get our act together, you can't dive it in the final corner, even if we assume that we could pass it there. I'm not going to make that turn. I'm bobbling over a curb. I will openly. If I tried to turn in, I think we're going to have a tremendous accident down there because it just was not settled properly. Yes, and this is the difficult part, is we just lost that little bit of ground. I'm not going to be right under the back of it for the pull down the start-finish straight. Will Liam be able to get Danger Man and or me by turn 1? No, he's not going to get me. Don't think he's going to be able to get Danger Man because he'd have to be such a big dive under brakes. Whoa, yeah, well, tried it. I don't know if Danger Man was trying to pass me or Danger Man may well have just been trying to defend from Liam. I broke early because I was going for a more, say, traditional route through that, traditional line through that corner, and Liam was throwing everything at it. I mean, say fair enough, you've got to try something perhaps on the final lap of the race. It was, yeah, scary is the word I'm going to use in all of this. There's still a big gaggle of the Portofinos behind. We've lost some of the classic cars. They are these are difficult things to drive. They are uncooperative. I say that, they're very old, as you would expect. So it's perhaps not a big surprise we've seen more of them kind of drop off. But we are putting up a good fight. Danger Man's got a great run behind us. There. Is Danger Man going to be able to find a way past anywhere? That is the question. Well, possibly. I'm out of position through here, although we can still get on the throttle. Brazen is gone. Brazen is out of range. Up ahead, if we can just get the nose turned in through here. You've got to be very patient with the throttle in this car because it does not like... It's got to be absolutely settled everywhere. Oh, that's a big slide for us. Will Liam get the pair of us because we are busy fighting over third place? Maybe. Oh, maybe. Danger Man's up the inside. I think Liam's getting both of us here. I'm going for a cutback on the exit, trying to get that sort of slingshot effect towards the start-finish line, but I do fear what's going to happen is Liam is going to get both of us. Oh, yeah, damn it, we ended up 5th. Danger Man held on to third. I think I chased Liam across the road hard enough that Liam just missed out on getting Danger Man to the line. That's ridiculously close. My driving was a little bit all over the place in that one. I will say that much. Yeah, it was a little bit up and down. I think is the best way to, which about sums up the car. It was a great race, a really interesting race. Well, I think we sacrificed ourselves a little bit at the end there. A little bit too much fighting with Danger Man. But it was a very cool, a very interesting battle between the road and the race cars. For our second race, we have got the Porsche 911 GT3 RS up against the Eagle Formula 1 car. Porsche will get off the line quite well, being rear engine. We actually get a really good launch. The Eagles starting on the front for this one, but so fast in a straight line. So Porsche has about 100 more horsepower. We'll try and sneak a pass on, but not quite gonna get. So we'll get alongside on the X. It's not gonna matter. Porsche has about 100 more horsepower. Where you want to be with a classic F1 car, but the Eagles, they weigh quite literally half the weight of the Porsche. There's some more kicking up of the sand, even kicking up the sand and going on both sides. The Eagle out-accelerates me. We're going to have to pick and choose our moments to find a way. But I mean, we've got a lot. I'm quite fortunate I've started at the front of the line of Porsches in that I could hopefully focus, if I don't go too wide through all of this, focus forward on dealing with the Eagles. How quick. As they get onto a straight, absolutely bolt away. However, under brakes, that's a little bit closer than I would like that one to be. The Porsche quite good at getting slowed down. The Porsche will carry good speed through these corners, and it's a lot easier to access the speed in the Porsche, shall we say. But trying to get a pass complete here, I mean, with the right behind, there's a lot of sand that's being kicked up. Is that a Brazen going for an Explorer? I think it was. We will see what we can do. We get a bit of helping hand through the final corner. Problem is, we're stuck. We can go faster than Longbow through that section, which is allowing Blakey to catch up. We can go quicker than Longbow, but I can't, because there's an Eagle in the way. And then we got onto this straight, and they're just absolutely gone. We will defend a little bit into turn. Don't want to go crazy defensive. If we defend too much, we're going to lose a bunch of time, and then the Eagles will run away. So I want to defend a bit. I want to be the first car to battle with the Eagles. I don't want to lose a position to Blakey. But it's a difficult balancing act. We've kind of got a two Porsche breakaway in this at the moment. While the Eagle, you can see how much they are moving around. A big twitch for the leader, trying to put the power down, because I don't have that issue here. We can just jump on the throttle out of these corners, and it goes. We spent half a lap or so, but we've caught back up. And where do we pass, though? How do you pass a cut? It's just gone again. We'll be quick through the next corner, but they're just well out of range. Well, that's how you pass. Longbow's had a twitch on the AstroTurf, and that will hopefully do the job for me. I will take that position, and we will now be able to carry good speed down the corkscrew, and I should hopefully be far, because I've now got to get far enough away that Longbow can't just fire back past down the start-finish straight. That's the sort of concern. We know we're quick through this section. We're going to catch right up to Brazen and Ninetail. Brazen sliding the car, as you would expect. Got plenty of gap, actually. That's fine. As we will head around the final one. So we shouldn't be troubled too much by Longbow into turn one. We are right on the back of Brazen's car, and then they vanish. And it's just gone. And then we start all over again. We'll spend an entire lap trying to catch back up. It's going to be, if they don't make a mistake, it's going to be very difficult. Brazen's out very wide heading into turn one, but it all sort of works. Yeah, I mean, we can, and if we can get in the right place, we could just drive clean around the outside of the cars ahead. But we've got to get to that position when they just outrun us massively down, and say whatever straight, essentially. I've got to not be doing that. Yeah, we launched it off the inside curb a little bit, making mistakes for me. I've got to make up all of my time in the corners. We've got to be absolutely on it through these corners if we are going to be able to do this. The Porsche, it's nice to drive. It's a touch understeery, but a lot of the time, a lot of times when you're on a car not on slicks on Forza, they often do feel quite understeery. So that's not a big surprise, really. The Eagles are quicker through the first half of the lap. We are very fast through the second half of the lap, basically. We can get the corkscrew right, which so far have been doing fairly well. And I mean, it helps if Brazen and Ninetails fight each other. If they really start fighting each other, that would make my life considerably easier. No more going on the sand for me would be a good idea. Brazen sliding, Ninetail sliding. All of the Eagles incredibly sideways around this as we head through the final corner. Again, like that whole lap, okay, we screwed it up a bit going on the sand. We've basically got to the same point that we were the end of last lap. we're right on the back of the Eagles, but they make that second and a half down the start-finish straight. We've got a little bit deep into turn 1. Might get away with it. Go for like Apex. Brazen's looking for a way past on the inside. More sand being kicked up from that one. Not quite finding a way past. I think it's a little bit wide, actually, through there. We can be risky. That doesn't cost us too much, I say. It's not... it's trying to extract absolutely everything out of this car through these corners. And that's the only way we're going to have a chance. If we're going to find a way past these two, is we've got to be absolute on that limit, which is involving a little bit of dust kicking on our part as well. I feel like we're closer this time around. I feel like we're closer than we have been heading up towards the corkscrew. Ninetales has gone for a wander. So you just see it from the Eagles every so often. They just go for that wander. Yeah, I definitely think we're closer this lap around, but what can I do? Even if we get a great exit here, which we do, I'm not able to accelerate fast enough to dive to the inside down here. And if I'm in the right, I could overtake into the final corner, but it's useless. I've got to get a pass done pretty much at the corkscrew if I'm going to beat these cars to the line. Because if I do a pass here, it doesn't matter. Blakey's fighting a long way back there, but yeah, I can't do anything down here. Brazen's trying to get to the inside of Ninetales for a run down the start-finish straight. Not going to happen. We are there, but they will just out-accelerate us to that line. Well, this is the final lap of the race. I've got one more chance, and I don't quite know where it's going to. We've got no threat from behind us. They've been fighting. They're too far back, but where are we going to find a way past these two? I think we are closer than we have been. Ninetales lights up the rear tyres through there. Still struggling, actually. For some traction, got a twitch, and Ninetales on the grass. Well, not grass, on the dirt. Ninetales is off. Brazen, I think, had to lift and move and out of position for all of that, so we are a lot closer than we have been in the previous laps. We'll draw alongside. I don't know whether we touch the Formula 1 car, maybe give it a little hurry-up bump. It out-accelerates us. This is the best shot that we've got. The exit of the corkscrew, I think. If we can get the exit of the corkscrew perfect. We can't pass here, we can't outrun here. We're not going to be close enough on the way into the corkscrew because this bit's quite fast. So we're looking for a good run off the corkscrew into the next corner is where we're going to do it. Actually, could have been braver through that section. Would have wanted to have been, but we are still closer than we have ever been under brakes. Brazen's moving about. We've got to get off this part really, really well. Ninetales actually hasn't lost too much time through all of this, but yeah, if we can get to the... I can't do it. Actually lose the back end for the Porsche. We may be close enough to send it. We're going to have a... Guys, oh, the gap's always closing down there. It was really the only chance that we had, because even if we got it set up perfectly and could have dove into the final corner, it doesn't matter. We'd get outrun to the line. Brazen will hold on. We threw everything at the Eagle, but could not find a way past in the closing stages. We'll have to settle for second place. An exciting and excellent race in that one. I think I technically only overtook Eagles when they fell off the road. I think Stevie fell off the road at the start. Yeah, we did. But we were putting Brazen under a lot of pressure by the end of that. The Porsche definitely the much easier car to drive. However, really struggled to overcome the straight line speed of the Eagle. Fantastically fun race though. Fantastic fun. Couldn't quite do it. So, as far as conclusions goes in this one, this was great fun. We had some very, very entertaining races. As expected, the classic race cars generated their speed very differently to the road cars. And while, of course, the vehicle selection plays a part, and balancing for this was actually quite difficult, the Ferrari, I think, is the first time where we've really seen a classic race car be the grippy one in that. And I know that's partly to do with the vehicle that you are racing against and so on. But the Eagle versus Porsche is what you normally see when you do this. The classic race car bolts off down a straight with acceleration and sometimes top speed, depending on what it might be. And then the modern car is much better through the corners. The Ferrari one was actually quite interesting, having it be the other way around. Quite terrifying in the tiny, lightweight classic Ferrari against a very, very big modern Ferrari and everything. Yeah, balancing was a little bit tricky on this one. It's great fun. It is great fun. But as we saw at Laguna, for example, it's very, very difficult to pass those classic race cars because of their often ridiculous acceleration. But you also saw the difficulty in driving them. You saw how tough that Eagle was to get around the circuit in comparison to the Porsche. So yeah, I mean, it's a fun test. tough to balance, but when you do get the balance working, you get some really interesting, wacky racing. So I always enjoy giving this a go on Forza games. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.